Well met, lords and ladies, Jacob Butter speaking, and welcome back to another episode of... So I bet you're all wondering, what insipid story is Jacob gonna tell this time for the late stream? Well, once again, technology has betrayed me. You know how, actually, I don't know if you know this, because yesterday I was streaming Hightail on the Butter Bunch, and my screen was glitching out. Well, today, the entire computer decided to just, say it ran into problems, and it couldn't actually, start up. So, you know, I tell people occasionally, but yeah, so I had to run several different like troubleshoots and stuff what was going on. So that's basically what happened. I guess I'm telling people this time because there wasn't much of the story to tell. Ultimately speaking, I don't even remember what buttons I pressed on the troubleshoots and everything. Aside from reconnecting to the Wi-Fi again. Surprisingly, the one thing that doesn't work now is I can't open up Google Chrome, which is what I normally use for StreamYard because it's, compatible with it. So I'm on Opera GX for the first time in quite some time. So that might be a little bit different to normal. My mic setting might also be different to normal because I was recording something upstairs and managed to bump the volume button, but I think I've put it back to how it was before. So yeah, all is well, I guess. Kind of, I suppose. And this is again a thing I said in the description of I actually had this video ready to go. Well, not ready to go. I think these videos downloaded and ready to be set up is what I meant to say. And I just thought, oh yeah, this is it's either destiny for me to be delayed or destiny for it to be fulfilled in the first place, because it seems like my restored point, which was after the downloads, was perfectly fine. Not to mention, also, I was compiling audio for Mutant Go yesterday, so I'm glad that progress was not lost because, my goodness, I've tried that multiple times. So yeah, I think that's with that. I don't know if I have enough space for more bingo sections. I don't know. Something called Opera right after the pantomime. Yes, in which I was playing a version of Freddie Mercury. Yeah, honestly, very fitting. So yeah. We're going to move on to a different facet of Destiny, I suppose. Not this video.
Everyone has their story.
This video. Yes, everyone has their story, and some stories end up in the GachaFest Round 3 that wasn't an actual playlist this time, I don't think, but was just listed. And this is one of the last things I actually watched beforehand. One of these videos came out after the votings were in, so I haven't watched that one yet. This one I have... that I did see, but it was in conjunction with like a bunch of other ones, so I might not remember all of the details. Let's say, even though it was literally yesterday, it's just because again these things I have to like pass and judge immediately. But yes, we're done with the votings now. This time, finally, there we go. Some stories continue to be noseless, so I'll find these judges. Yeah, you do know too. That's true. Yeah. I think I know the other ones by name, I suppose. Well, although I guess it's up to Mops right now if this one actually gets through or not. But I thought we'd take a look at it anyway because I did say that so there was some entries in GachaFest that I thought, well, let's watch them over anyway because that was the plan originally anyway beforehand. So yeah, we'll see. So I guess we'll start off with the video that actually was part of the entry because it came out about, in time for it to be qualified. The Year of the Proxy. Without further ado, on with the review. Some people have their stories.
Like we have ours. The country of Lithia. Zarians.
Lithia, interesting because that to me like connotes like lithos as in like stone or lithium the metal. So I don't know if that's got any connection, but I don't know.
The term used to refer to the 25% of the population that possess super.
Oh, I should rewind so I can hear that actual term.
Term used to refer. Zarians. The term used to refer to the 25% of the population that possess supernatural abilities.
Again, Tsar could actually be a reference to like, Russian monarchy when that was a thing. Not sure if it is. Again, I might be reading too much into this.
Humans make up the other 75%.
Because I imagine that, if you could control elements, there's some, especially given what I've seen of Avatar and Legend of Korra, there's a difference between the benders and non-benders in that universe. So,
They have no magic whatsoever. Together, they all have one thing in common. A prophecy in which we chose to live by.
You chose to live by the prophecy. Okay. I mean, I know they do say that all prophecies are self-fulfilling, or not, well, depending on which medium you're in, prophecies are self-fulfilling. So any active attempt to prevent the prophecy from happening will result in the prophecy happening. Kind of like, basically, obviously the great example that I can come up with, obviously, is back to Harry Potter, Voldemort took actions based on the first half of the prophecy that he heard because Snape told him, and he did in fact mark one of the two babies it could have qualified for as his equal, and tethers, his own life to said baby in the first place, and vice versa. So yeah, if that hadn't happened, it was all down to him, really. So they have one thing in common. Yeah, they're all eyeless and burnt at the stake for their freakish nature. Yeah. They without eyes or noses. Me as somebody who hates lack of mouths now. Just any gacha kissing scenes are just, taboo for them. No, what was actually I like the use of the mannequins here a little bit because it actually does show that, like at the core, Zarians and humans are basically the same, even if the story is going to depict them in different ways based on what they can do. Again, I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, but hey.
'Tis the year of the moon, and evil shall arise soon. Fear not, for a team will be sought to rid these monsters. Battle fought, ancient weapons from the skies ascend. Chosen ones, their powers must defend.
To hear this rhyme, I would rather like if the reader could move away from their mic.
They'll face trials and pain, endure loss again and again. But together, they must stand to save this land with a steady hand.
I do like how like the last line was actually like three the tercet rather than just a couplet. That was nice. Reminds me a bit of like the Once Upon a Witchlight poem, which does the same thing basically. Just a gacha kissing that being mouth aside and find it uncanny. Yeah, well, same here. It's one of those things.
Your Majesty.
Oh, wait a second. Hold on. They do have noses. They just have the version of noses that people have, like the shading, or I guess in this case the highlighter, because it's not really shading if it's like lighter than the actual color of the person. But yeah, I guess I did define where the nose is supposed to be. Again, not a style that I favor personally, but I've seen it a lot. So,
Everything as you foretold.
It's begun. The year of the prophecy.
What are your
I guess this takes place on New Year's Day.
orders, my queen?
We start immediately. Send scout.
Okay, you know what? Another thing, this actually reminds me of a conversation I had with Aiden about the people above. So, in true fashion, the people above episode 2 is partially written, even if we didn't actually, go ahead with, actually, recording more episodes. Let's say. And one thing that was happening while I was going through, while I was like writing it in the first place, because honestly, most of the writing for that series is me. This is something that actually does tie into Harry Potter again, weirdly enough. But what was happening was that it was a simple conversation between like the king and queen of like discussing like the urgency of what happens in the episode. I'm not going to go into details yet, should we ever actually return to that series. But basically what Aiden ended up saying is like I was like writing this down, like I was doing the dialogue, but also I do scene direction at the same time. So I was like at one point the queen actually stands up, starts pacing around. I think it was like the king starts pacing, but he like sits down. The queen gets up. Her pacing is much more deliberate, but she turns around and just like then turns around to face him like downwards. There's a lot of like actual movement there, and it's all. And Aiden said to me, "Well, they're just talking. Why are you complicating things unnecessarily if it's just a scene of these two conversing?" And the answer that I gave was it's similarly to how in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, the scene where like Harry and Dumbledore are talking at the end of the movie. Yes, the same scene where he has the he takes the bleeding sword of Gryffindor with Basilisk blood still on it and grabs it by the sharp blade, which probably would destroy the Horcrux inside of him if it actually, but whatever. That's that same scene. But that moment aside, what happens in that one is that well, first of all, like Ron is also in the room at the time, but Dumbledore gets up to send off a letter. He gives instructions to Ron basically to give and then he goes and sits back down. All that the movement itself. People can analyze this way better than I can because I don't remember all the details now. But all that actual movement is to kind of erase the whole furniture equals power idea, where he would just be sitting behind the desk and having all the power to himself. He wants to be on the same level as these two boys that have just gone through a traumatic experience, which quite frankly is understandable. And again, to humanize him, because at that point, in the story, Dumbledore's also still the ethereal, can do nothing wrong being in Harry's eyes. That will break down later, obviously. So all the movement there was very important, in the scene, directing wise, and obviously the camera would have reflected that and everything. Compare that to Order of the Phoenix, where there's a scene where they are just sitting down, left to right justified shots, and that's it. There's no actual conversion at all there, and barely any sort of emotion from either of them. So that's what I was getting at, basically. One scene versus the other, the dynamic between the king and queen, the way that they carry themselves, the way that they address the situation at hand, all of that was supposed to be through those actions. So it wasn't just me complicating things for no reason. Why am I bringing this up right now? Because I like the way that the queen is actually pacing in this scene, not just standing still, but she's walking. So that it's still very deliberate. She still stops and gives instructions. The knight is really there, standing by, doing his duty. There's a lot you can read into it, these movements here, basically. So that's what I was getting at. In a similar situation, it'll be horror struck with my editing this body action and decisions if he's upset about that conversation. I mean, he wasn't upset. I explained it, and and he understood that. This is ultimately what happens all the time when we're writing, where if I go into big details about certain scenes and the actions and descriptions, more often than not, he ends up agreeing with what I say, but also quietly assign the scene to me should the episode ever continue. This wasn't the reason that episode 2 never came out, by the way. It's just, if it ever does come out, most likely that'll be handled by me. So, What I'm looking for is characterization. Yeah, characterization through movement and proxemics. That's ultimately what I'm getting at. Exactly.
Mage's criteria.
Oh, point out, yeah, sorry, I see this. I actually have an entire scene, episode 3 of my series, where Tay and Nova are traversing unstable structures the whole time. I mean, that's also environmental storytelling of, those structures in the first place, because the whole scene, being in the Plex and how abandoned it actually is and how unsafe the whole area is, just on basic principle, ignoring the anomalies, that helps in that aspect as well. So, obviously everything, every detail helps, especially in animation.
Children born under the full moon, there are only chance.
You have to be born under the full moon during the year of the prophecy or beforehand, because it seems like, I mean, there's a lot of people who are born to full moons, is what I'm thinking.
Man, tonight feels perfect.
Zypto is more complex than I thought, but it might be the key. Why now, though?
Evening, Mrs. Guile. Right?
Oh, yeah, because they've got non-judge music. I can't hear the music. Okay, yeah. Are children born under the full moon werewolves? If there are, then that's billions of werewolves, essentially, if you think about like how the moon phases work.
Here! You're grumpy again.
Something's off tonight.
What do you mean?
Forget it.
There's actually a concept called meteoropathy, which means that, your emotions change based on like how you react to the weather. So this isn't like unheard of, but also, I've never heard like the effect of something being off being because of someone being grumpy, more so apprehensive, suspicious, I would have said.
Well, if something is wrong, we'll face it together. Like always.
So I said, if I leave, the party's over.
There's supposed to a werewolf, which explains the accurate Zane impression. When did Zane become a werewolf? I think you might be getting your Aphmau characters mixed up there.
Weird.
Also, if you want someone who's actually a werewolf, I'd say, consult Shorty. But anyway. Like the character designs, it has soft feeling to the design. Yeah, this is definitely, as Ghosty would say, modern fantasy applied here. And I guess the average civilians have like moved on, but the royal ones are like look more like traditionally royally clothed in general. So so I like the contrast between those as well. That's the framing of like of this background too, and the balcony cityscape and everything. Although I do question the use of a mask when you're trying to, potentially scope out a territory, but that might not be why this character is here. So who knows? I'll tell you what. No, Zane wasn't a werewolf the whole time. In fact, Zane never became a werewolf at all.
It's starting.
Oh, wait, no, you're thinking of Aaron, actually, which ironic is one of my worst My Street impressions.
Feels colder than usual.
I mean, you are wearing no sleeves whatsoever in the middle of the night, so of course it feels cold, but alright.
You found them all?
Some, not all, but their fates are bound. I just hope they arrive in time.
If their fates are bound, then surely they will arrive in time, as it is their fate to do so, right?
The night we've been waiting for is finally upon us, friends.
Okay, so the year of the prophecy, by the way, is all that's specified in here, but we're saying the night we've awaited for? Was it like the first moon of the year of the prophecy? Because all it said was the year of the moon, right? So it could be like any time within however long the calendar of this world takes place in. Unless specified otherwise, I would have thought, but okay. Minus 24 is where I'm going to... Well, hey, who knows? Maybe this is set in Canada and or Russia. We don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure this is what is... Well, no, it's Lithia, sorry. Maybe Lithia's climate is akin to those. Not sure. I somewhat doubt it on account of the character not, wearing no sleeves, as I mentioned before, in the cold. But who knows? Maybe there are some crazy Canadians I'm not aware of that decide to do the same thing under similar conditions. I've been to Iceland before, and some people do wear fewer layers than you would expect up there. But most of the time it is, coats and such. Yeah. Over here, my dog doesn't even... Yeah, so probably not then.
For real? Thank God. I was gonna lose my mind if another decade passed.
Xavier?
Implying the year of the prophecy can come around once every decade? Okay.
Already on it. Just give me the word.
Good. Let's capture what we deserve.
All of them who we just met now, I suppose.
The storm is coming.
Indeed it is, and so is winter, unless you're in Canada. It's already here. That was episode 1, and, you know, there is a note in the description that apologizes for how short it is. Compared to episode 2, it is remarkably short. It almost feels like a trailer for things to come. I mean, yeah, to some extent, like, every pilot episode or something is supposed to be, you know, a more elaborate trailer when you think of it, or what it could be, provided there aren't any, like, major changes to, you know, the formula and such, or to the setup, because some pilots do end up getting rewritten. Most Gacha ones don't, but, you know, that's what I mean. But yeah, in this case, yeah, it does. I guess it does, you know, provide the intrigue around the setup, maybe, and the world itself, and, you know, the competence under which it's actually made. Again, some of these things I'm sure weren't deliberate. The Queen Walk, I'm gonna say, you know, is probably an intentional choice. The Zarian's name might not be. I have to look at the spelling of that to confirm or deny. Obviously, Lithia could mean a number of things, but, you know. So, yeah, not sure. But the one thing that I think this is missing potentially is more with, like, those characters. Because, again, that's what makes it feel more like a trailer than a pilot, is the fact that we only see the characters that are getting involved for a few seconds. It seems like that's meant to, you know, have like a decently sized cast of regular heroes that are supposed to do something to counteract some effects, and they're going to endure loss again and again, apparently, during that, based on what the prophecy said. So it'd be nice to, like, actually, you know, get to know them a bit more in the first episode in order to actually, you know, root for their journey, or at least one of them. It could be the case that, you know, they're all meant to, like, share equal screen time, like, you know, as is the case in shows like The Guardians, for example. But in this case, it seems more. It seems, yeah, well, yeah, we could actually have, like, you know, one protagonist and, like, get them and follow them a little bit during this point while they, like, reunite everyone else, much like the inspiration for The Guardians that I recently realized where it came from as a result of Team 4-Star. Still got to mention Prism in that one, but yeah. Just how Majesty looked. Well, I mean, Majesty probably used Celeste. That's, you know, established in the canon, but, you know, she could have done. I believe the bunglers actually have a crystal ball at some point, so, you know. But yeah, so that's what I'd like a little bit more of in this one. But, you know, hey, there's something in here. The conflict itself is unclear at the moment, what they're all preparing for. That would have also been nice to establish. So 2 things I think this was missing, probably on account of its short runtime. Which, guess what? We're in luck, because 11 days ago, a video with a longer runtime came out, and we're going to check it out right now.
This crowd.
This episode 2, The Missing Keys.
That feels out of place, right?
I mean, aside from the obvious shadow thing, but that's, you know, that's silhouettes. I get that. Guess those didn't feel out of place. I like how she strikes a pose to wave. It's not just like a... It's more of a... I think that's because they're trying to do like a little bit of a squash and stretch, which is something that people have been looking into in Gacha. That apparently some people think makes it look a little bit smoother than, you know, just like the typical you know, crossfade approach that I favor. But it really it depends on what you're going for here. If you're going for more static poses, which was not the case in the first episode, I don't think. But there you go. I mean, I don't wave like that currently. Maybe I should start.
Isn't this exciting? I mean, we can actually be part of a prophecy.
Don't get your hopes up.
So they've all been summoned already. I mean, I guess we can. I think that would have been interesting to like delve into, like how they got like caught word of this, really, or were they always told because they were born at the right time before the year of the prophecy in question? Or was like everyone in this school or wherever they are, like right now, born under a full moon at some stage in history, and they're just like, who could it actually be? Maybe maybe there's some like sweet old lady who's like, I was born under the full moon many moons ago, literally. I've been waiting to find out for 75 years if I've part of the prophecy. Maybe it will be me. At last, the day has come.
You might get sent home like the rest of them.
We got random names like lottery numbers. I mean, I don't know. Without specification, they got to shortlist them somehow. Maybe they'll have like a battle royale or something. If that's the case, poor Granny I just made up. Unless you've been training all her life and she's secretly, like I'm an astute martial artist. I don't know. At last the day has come. Oh my! Oh my goodness.
Good morning, boys and girls. I humbly...
Okay, I appreciate the sound equipment to amplify her. I mean, several bits of it being behind her is probably not ideal for this broadcast, but there's no microphone to actually pick her up unless the floor's got boundary mics. So I would have personally put like a microphone prop in front of her, really, to complete this image, but other than that, fairly complete.
We welcome you all to the castle.
It also shows like how like out of place the royal attire is in like a modern setting. Outside of the castle walls where everyone seems to dress like a much more like, fantasy or traditional from like, bygone era attire. So, a good distinction between the general population and those that seem to still rule over them.
This morning, we will be hosting the Crystal Ceremony. All of you, ages 16 to 18, have been selected under...
Oh, bother. I knew I should have read the fine print. Well, off I go. Call me when there's a prophecy that's a bit more inclusive.
There are special conditions to have the chance of being a part of the prophecy.
On the special conditions to have a chance to be... Okay.
I beg you bear with us as there are so many of you present.
Yeah, no kidding. Of course there would be.
With hospitality, Queen Trisha.
Now think about it, did the prophecy ever specify that it was a child born in Lithia? Or did they all have to like move to, or they fly to Lithia in question? Are all the airports clogged with a bunch of teenagers just piling in, trying to figure out if they're part of the prophecy or not? Oh, the crystal ball seems to have faded a little bit. Okay.
Not everyone is meant to be a part of this prophecy.
Yeah, they know that. You could just like say like I'm sorry or something, or condolences or whatever.
The crystal only recognizes those with the right resonance.
You probably should have, if you wanted to say it to everyone, you probably explain that like during the broadcast, but okay. Or not broadcast, more like the presentation.
Let's see if Destiny's on my side.
Oh, that's the majesty line. May destiny always be on your side. You were right, Bon. Oh no. Also, you do bring up a good question. Sorry. Yeah, I do bring up a good question here. Who made the prophecy? Because I mean, sometimes that is, significant. In this case, there seemed to be like, okay, someone did at some point. Is the prophet still around? Did they, say beforehand? Was it the granny I just made up? Kind of like wishful thinking that she would apply to her. I don't know. I think I'm free of she appears. Speaking of unexpected appearances, hi, Gacha Spring Boy. Welcome back. I see you on a non-Emily related video.
Knew it.
Oh, okay, just like casually leaves out addressing the queen or the knight. Okay then. To be fair, that is somewhat characterizing, whoever he is. Yeah, this is, by the way, how I would have done like the meeting of a few of these characters. Maybe like not. I guess like the one at the beginning. Being like a little bit awkward, or the enthusiastic ones. Once as he had like more dialogue last time, I think they're meant to take more focus. So I'm guessing they're going to be the centerpieces, alongside the rest of the supporting cast that we're meeting now.
Guess this is happening.
Yeah, I can understand not being excited about this. And also, like we said, the other colors, in general. Again, with like that large of a roster of people, I guess you don't have to skip over them. But still, the lighting being different for each of them, I suppose, is meant to symbolize that they're chosen for different things within the prophecy itself. Which makes me think the prophecy has fine print, or like has like another page or so that was like just part of this. I wonder if that's all in rhyming couplers as well. / one tertiate.
No way. I'm one of them?
Yeah, okay, that I would have had a bigger reaction to. The character's facial expression implied there's like much more worry, which there frankly should be, especially for this nervous character. But the dialogue was like, no way, I'm one of them. It sounds a little bit like Rex and Weevil in Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged, which obviously Beavis and Butthead impressions. It's like, no way. It just sounds like that. Society just living on an idea there's a prophecy and is gearing up for something to happen. I'm pretty sure you can point out films that explored that concept. Well, yes, absolutely you can. You can point out, honestly, other gachas that have done this too. Believe Rex Gasoline being a recent example on Gacha Review. So, this kind of thing, it depends on like what you do with it itself, but this has the potential to like explore like on a much grander scale, considering that episode 1 focused entirely on the world building and again the society itself rather than just on the individuals. But I want more on the individuals, and I guess here they are.
Only 6 of you have been chosen.
Were you expecting more? Well, I guess there was no like defined number. But the queen will be exasperated because like imagine how many people born under a full moon in Lithia exist, or even like outside of Lithia, if my airport theory is correct. Can you imagine just having to screen all of these people in some vague alphabetical order, potentially, or however they chose to do it, and just being there for hours on end, possibly days, of being like, only 6 of you. Okay, I guess that's what we have. Good thing the granny left earlier, I swear.
But that is enough. You will fulfill your destinies. You are the newly appointed Knights of Destiny. Look around. Get acquainted with your now fated teammates.
Here's a challenge for you, Queenie. Say one sentence without making any like conjugations of fate and or destiny.
And before you question, we have already contacted you.
Every time you see the Queen, you think about Technoblade, the Minecraft YouTuber. Why? Because Pink and Crown together? Is that the connection here? Honestly, if Technoblade were the character here, this would probably be a very, very different story.
Your homes and families. I'd like to give you all a week to bond, but we are on a strict schedule, unfortunately. Every day, they get closer.
Yeah, Lord forbid that we have time to get to know these people that we're supposed to be following in the story.
They?
The fact that the story itself seems to think that they're pressed for time means that maybe the focus is a little bit too much in the wrong place.
You'll learn about it more at tomorrow's training. Now then, Lima will show you to your chambers.
Okay, it was Lima, not Guima. I was thinking K-pop Demon Hunters.
This place is nice.
It honestly is. I like the different designs of the beds and that they actually all have this shared communal space that looks big enough to accommodate all of them. That's a nice touch, especially when you're under these circumstances where they're supposed to bond. And it also could lead to, a great source of conflict as well. Because, if you don't happen to, want someone around in your space, then you're not gonna enjoy when it happens. Oh, did that tree just move? Oh, no. No, the tree. I was about to say I saw it bob, but then I realized, oh wait, it's not even attached at the ground there. That's unfortunate pause frame there. And again, the character movement just shows a lot, Her I can see, striking a pose, doing everything. That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
Wasn't here before? Before?
Before what? Oh.
You've been to the castle?
What is happening to your belt there? Classic issue with Gacha, and Gacha Life 2 particularly, if you don't accommodate for where the legs are supposed to be. It happens.
You could say that.
Because it's true?
Anyway, don't you guys think things are moving really fast? I mean, the prophecy was just a myth a few days ago, and now we're here.
I mean, okay, so that suggests that the entire society has not been preparing for this. It's just been the royals, and the general population has moved away from the idea despite how important this is. Even though so many of them showed up under the guise of being chosen specifically. Yeah, Bonds was right before. This does sound like conscription.
There are things about this world we don't yet understand. I suspect we'll get our questions answered tomorrow.
I hope so. Anyway, time for introductions?
My name is Naida Sudalis. I'm Korean, and I do dancing. Oh,
Naida Sudalis, did you say?
and I like pink and bows and, well, you get the gist.
Actually, wait a minute. I don't need to speculate on this. I've got the actual credits down here. Who is this character? Oh yes. So yes, Naida Sudalis, as in NIDA space SUDELISE. Okay, there we go.
I'm Serena Gray, an Arisian junior journalist.
The name's Rox.
A junior journalist would make sense to be in a castle at some point, especially with, the royals being a thing that exists still.
Roxanne DeRoge. I'm a Zerian too, and I like to skate.
I'm guessing that they're probably all Zurians. Oh, that also makes sense as to why the population was so low, because I guess if you need the Zurians to actually do something, then yeah, I suppose the 25% of the population that are Zurians would have to be the ones who apply, and that would also be only just in Lithia. Yeah, I should have thought that actually beforehand. Yeah, I guess the roster is a little bit smaller than I anticipated.
Evelyn Hines. I'm Borean and I play the violin.
Hold on, Ezra in what? Oh, it's I think it's like this is like Evelyn Hines or Haynes, but spelled HIGHNS. Those says Hines, but seems to be written like that. I don't know.
So, are we all friends now?
You know it. I wonder if the boys are getting along.
That also raises a good question. So, considering that they need this bonding space in the first place, I am surprised that they actually, and also they were preparing a bunch of these different living quarters, right? Did they separate them based on quarters in general? If so, I personally would pair up in trios to kind of maximize the bonding. I get the idea of separated genders for bedrooms in principle, but under these circumstances, I feel. Well, then again, I guess they are 16 to 18, so yeah, I guess they couldn't be trusted in that regard, I suppose.
This place is sweet, huh?
Are we not gonna get a wider shot than this? That's kind of a letdown compared to the other bedroom, not gonna lie. There we go, thank you.
Not much of a talker? It's okay. I know it's easy to be speechless when talking to me.
Look, I don't want to be your friend, so I appreciate it if you zip it.
This character's the one guy that that comes onto like a reality TV show and declares they're not there to make friends, even though they honestly probably should in this situation.
You be so rude.
Why must you be so annoying?
They're having a.
I mean, I don't think that was like a. Okay, the delivery didn't suggest they were getting like super angry. I think it's another case of the voice actor's not like amping up the tension of the situation that they're supposed to be fighting over this.
Pillow fight. See? We're getting along fine. Good night, girls.
Hey, you know, because sometimes it depends on like if it's on fight versus pillow. Also, another thing I appreciate here is the attempt to have like somewhat matching blankets. I guess they are, you know, pre-made patterns and designs and possibly morphed in an art program, but you know, at least some of them might be like vague approximations of what's underneath them, which I can appreciate. Not to mention also this background here. I'm not going to speculate onto the background's origin. You can debate that yourselves every time that a background like this comes up, and it isn't the ornate one. People do start to throw around suggestions as to its origin, but I'm not gonna say. I'm just gonna say I enjoy the establishing shots during the passage of time. And of course, the character with that's probably not heterochromia. That looks like a scarred eye in some description rather than heterochromia.
All right. You might think you're special because the crystal picked you, but the prophecy doesn't guarantee victory. Right now, you're all a bunch of kids with no idea what's coming for you.
This just sounds like a British version of Aizawa, which I'm weirdly here for.
First order of business. Are there any Zarians here?
Oh, so only 2 of them are Zarians. Okay, forget what I said earlier about the whole airport situation then.
Just the 2 of you so far. Huh.
So far? Is that to say?
Your weapons should make you guys Zarians. At
what?
least, that's what the old hag said.
Who's the old hag? Do you mean me? I was supposed to go home before. Why am I still here? I presume that they mean like, you know, whoever made the prophecy, maybe an old hag made the prophecy.
Before you even think about wielding a weapon, we start with the basics. Physical training, strength, speed, endurance. You're no good to anyone if you collapse after 5 minutes of combat. You're not fighting regular humans. You're fighting undead Zarians.
Okay, this is the first hint of the undead are involved in this case. And judging by their reactions, they also were told nothing about the nature of the prophecy itself.
We're fighting what?
Zemons. Souls of dead...
Zemons? Like Zarian demons? Okay. I guess that also... that confirms the spelling, I think. Okay.
Zarians. Don't ask where from, we don't know. But our researcher beyond the wall confirmed it. And if any of you are...
Beyond the wall? There's a wall?
Too scared, leave now. Don't waste my time.
I know I mentioned Game of Thrones before with the whole storm is coming thing, but I mean, there's a wall as well.
We'll do our best. Right?
You bet.
Okay. I will say, physically, you know, the actual like the sweat and strain for this running cycle is fantastic. The only issue is the keyframing again. I know you meant to show that they're just not very fit, but this type of stride would only be would give you like some element of like speed automatically if you're able to do that. Otherwise, you're just kind of like jogging in place for the most part. So with this kind of sprint position, you need like a little bit more speed, even if the character's struggling. And in that situation, the best way to show characters struggling is actually to show someone else running faster next to them or like lapping them or something. Kind of like what I did in Puppy Love, where, you know, you can see like Nathan was clearly running, he just wasn't very good at it. Or running with you, actually, a similar situation that I think what Aiden was supposed to be doing, actually. But yeah, most of the time, of course, because Nicole was meant to be like the much faster runner, you know, she would always like be in the lead in general, except for towards the end, of course. Never forget that one guy who walked in that same scene. But anyway, I'm pretty sure it was Liam, actually.
Okay, not what I expected, but I've got this.
Okay, because the character's mouth is open, you've got to assume the character's speaking verbally, in which case, direct your voice actor to sound out of breath. It's actually not too difficult to make a voice actor sound out of breath. Some of the time, I personally just jog in place to get like more into like the mindset, but in general, you could do this and basically just keep breathing to this effect while you're supposed to be running, because that's how people talk when they're doing a lot of exercise, especially cardio, like that, you know. Obviously, Refine That Base is not a perfect example, but you get what I'm saying.
I've got this.
I know I said have a character who is supposed to be, like, you know, going much faster than them to show the contrast. This is still relatively slow, just like a brisk stride. That just, I guess, I don't know even how you pull off a sprint that slow in general.
Come on, guys. This is just a warm-up.
It's not about speed, Leon. It's about endurance.
Okay, interesting use of a JonTron meme back there. All right, then. And the fact they actually use, like, bow staffs or something at the beginning. I'm guessing that's not her weapon, even though it's, like, color-coded to her. Because, you know, this is how you would start with combat training. Which I also really, really like about this, by the way. I didn't say it before. I meant to stop the video and talk about this, but I like the fact that we actually have them building up. They're not actually born strong. You know, there's just something like in them that has like the potential, but they still have to work towards it. Like you want to see a protagonist or supporting cast do in a story like this. You know, you don't want everything to be handed to them. You know, even if they are in this situation in the first place, they still have to earn it to some level. So yeah, this is brilliant.
Are you even trying? Come on, Ray!
I mean, that was like one dodge. Are you even trying to hit him?
Just don't get hurt, okay?
I don't think I appreciate that, you know, these two characters who are like, you know, have a pre-established history being in this point in the story together. So not everyone's meeting for the first time. It's good to it's kind of like how it's sort of like how I believe it was Mina and Kirishima in My Hero Academia that like went to school together before entering UA, so they had a bit of history. Those two I don't think were like the closest of friends from what I remember, but they at least like had a connection. These two are like Knuckles and Amy in Sonic X, so that makes it even better. Okay, the training's paying off immediately.
They've got potential, but they're raw. Give them time.
Yeah, that was the point. I just commented the video for that. You don't have to say that.
And they'll learn.
Time is something we don't have.
Then you should have picked sooner.
They're getting closer. If we don't prepare the knights, it'll be over before they even get their weapons.
We cannot rush them. They need to be ready or they'll fail.
That is true. Both physically and psychologically as well, because they never heard of Zemans beforehand. Still can't get over that name. I presume it's meant to be like the outside. I personally would have done like a panning out and like fade the wall. So this thing that way, because otherwise, like now the room looks like it's been like, you know, bisected or something. But hey, I appreciate the attempt.
I
probably want to sneak away a lot more stealthily than that. I know they probably can't hear through the thick walls, but still.
Can't keep hiding forever. But they're not ready. And...
They're not ready. Oh, my gun just fell.
Neither am I.
I think I'm getting the hang of this. Maybe I'll take on the first enemy solo.
One thing I think this video is missing a little bit of is sound effects. We get like a few footsteps in general sometimes, not all the time. Even the Queen didn't get some in the first episode. And like here, there's no like punch sound effects, you know, to like the straw dummies or anything, which would be a nice touch to include.
I don't think this is a solo mission, Leon.
That being said, you know, even like the shuffling of the legs with these poses, they're not like fully identical, just like punching. There's like actual alternation between them. This is using GachaLife 2 to its best, I think.
Leon, we're all in this together. None of us can handle this alone.
Which does say a lot about the thread itself. Oh, and here's the issue with not pre-rendering. They're all just shuffling over. Cue the slide whistle. Times 4, actually.
Too comfortable. Just because we're stuck together doesn't mean I'm letting my guard down.
Guard down about what? Is she trying to defeat you with like now outside of training moments?
We're a team now, Ray. Whether you like it or not.
Okay. You know, that's aside from like bobbing a little bit, I prevented like the fire to the character, but you know, fun visual. Again, would have like been better with sound effects, but hey, it does seem like everyone has a very slow running speed. That's one thing I think that they to improve on overall, which is like the keyframes, stretch them out a little bit. Not like stretch them out, like I mean, but like set the end point of the keyframe a little bit further away.
All did well today. We're getting stronger together.
Next time, I'll definitely be faster.
I mean, you probably should show her running at all if you want that to be effective, but okay.
I'll get through those sprints without stopping.
Just don't forget, I'm still the best out of all of you.
Let's just survive the next round first, Leon.
You know, I'm getting more from their characters now as they're like slowly interacting. And that's another great thing about training montages, by the way. You get to see those interactions.
Soon, Lithia will fall, and they won't even see it coming.
There we go. See, another use of sound effects here that would have been very good before, probably with the other knight as well. Oh no, it's a muffin. It's like the explosion that Robbie drew in Gravity Falls on the tower. They look like a muffin. But also, how did that knight not hear anything? It didn't like leave that early on. Not much earlier. Okay. So they don't seem to open them. They're gonna open their eyes, or they're gonna keep them closed. Maybe they got back through smell. Okay, the knight does notice. Fine.
Guards, the wall. We're being attacked.
Guards, the wall. We're being attacked. Stop. Don't. Come back. Come on. If you're going to raise the alarm, raise the alarm. I can't hear you. Speak up, Shirani. Okay, this is curious, considering this is like, you know, the training montage was action-based before. Maybe they're saving the whole action... Maybe they're saving, like, their action budget, or... More budget. Their action time, for the actual Knights of Destiny. If so, I still appreciate them taking the time to show that, you know, they're not alone. You know, there actually are other trained guards who have been dealing with this, or I don't know if they've been dealing with this threat. If they just rose right now, it's sort of hard to tell. But they at least were prepared. You know, it's always nice to see. You know, it's like with like superhero stories where you see, you know, other law enforcement, like you know, the police or something, actually trying something. You know, while just like relying on the one vigilante that's there, or the team up if there are several, depending on the superhero property, obviously. So that's always nice to see. So I'm glad they didn't just, you know, like, hey, here, you know, we don't have our 6 random teenagers ready. I guess we're completely defenseless. No, you've got some people, and hopefully they'll be able to make some difference. They won't just get walloped immediately with no dents in the defense system. I just jinxed it, didn't I? I appreciate all of their different night clothes in general, and the different night clothes styles. Cut. Oh, hey, someone on Twitch this time, rather just being on YouTube. So hello, Doughy the Dough Man.
Last night there was an attack on the eastern walls.
Oh, so they didn't wake them up to intervene. They're just waking them up now to tell them something happened. Okay,
Luckily,
right, sure.
Our guards outnumbered them, but they're getting closer to the capital. Alaric will be increasing your training. You'll be setting out in 1 week's time.
Setting out? What do you mean by that?
I mean, you've got to attack the source, I suppose.
To find your weapons. To put up a fight against Zoko and his forces. You all were chosen for a purpose.
Yeah, they know they were chosen for a purpose. You told them, well, they've been told the purpose now anyway. You don't need to reinforce
I believe
that.
in you all tremendously.
She's just saying that, isn't she? In her head, she's going, they're going to die. They're not ready. How are you holding that bow staff? Go on the left. I wonder if the Zamnians themselves are using their powers, their elemental powers, to try to refine them for combat, because I presume they haven't been doing that in everyday lives before. Does poor guys have to deal with all those, whatever they are? For the time being, I suppose. These ones, these characters here are meant to be trained up for this specific purpose. We don't know how many undead, well, they're called Zemans. We don't know how many Zemans there are at the moment. So, yeah, it's... I guess there weren't enough last night to be repelled after that point. I guess it was their first attack, which for everyone watching on the YouTube side of things will probably remember when I discussed the latest episode of Keseru. One thing I prefer about Keseru actually is the fact that they actually did the Zemans, well, not the Zemans, they're the evil people, whatever they're called in Keseru. They attacked when the opportunity they became of them, because the barrier was falling down. It was their first opportunity to actually do something, and they had a tactic prepared. This time, maybe they're trying to test the forces. Maybe they're sending a random wave or something, and they're going to increase it later on. It's a little bit less strategically sound to just throw a bunch of your numbers at them. Unless because the fact they're undead means that you can easily, I guess resummon them. That might also be what's going on here. I'm not sure. Red music totally is not better than the Infinity Castle, the training part, if this goes out. Okay. All right then. I can't say I'm familiar with Infinity Castle, so I'll have to look into that. Oh, they're giving up for an action sequence, but okay. They're saving that budget again for later. Also, another thing about these footsteps, by the way, is that this character's walking on grass right now, and it sounds like they're walking on tile. That's the thing with footstep sound effects. They're different for the material you're walking on, because that's how footsteps work in real life. So again, the sound effects is something to improve on overall.
Roxanne, head to the nurse Abby's office immediately. Get patched up.
But sir, I'm fine. I can get better if I just...
It'll make you worse. Now go.
Gotta appreciate the drill sergeant here actually looking out for them. And being I understand that I'm pushing you because I need to, but I do care. That's a great character complexity moment.
Did you do anything right, Roxanne?
Also, hello, Eli.
I mean, geez. Ancient prophecy, my ass. I apologize.
I wasn't watching ahead myself. Oh, my.
Are you injured?
Yeah, I was actually looking for the nurse's office myself.
Wait, they haven't been to the nurse's office at all during the training before this point? I know there was that guy who set himself on fire in a previous shot, and the nurse was chasing him. But I presume that they've had to have met the nurse beforehand anyway, because I mean they're training all the time. They were going to get injured at some point. If they have a medical team on standby, let them know where they are. No wonder she felt like she couldn't like get patched up as a result. If she's the first one to get sent over there for this injury, either means that's the most severe injury they've sustained thus far, or she's going to feel worse by not coping with whatever everyone else has done and just like, you know, all their training battle scars or something. I don't know.
That would be me. Isn't that fate?
I guess.
Yeah, fate's destiny. We've been there before. Yada yada.
What are you going to do? Stick a couple band-aids on? I'm fine.
We'll probably get some rubbing alcohol in there to, you know, clean up the wound because it's going to get infected otherwise, and then potentially bandage it up, I would have thought.
Don't waste your...
Reminds me of Cell Water to Rule the World as a game. Yeah, there's a lot of like, game references that are all like anime references we've got with the music in here today.
No such thing as wasting bandages on wounds.
Huh?
Draining yourself of magic, of course, is another matter. I guess it depends again, like the magic source in general. If you're, I will say that in which at one point the Guardian of Earth actually does you know, gain the ability to heal light wounds like this.
And
it's not physically draining. Oh, and I like the fact that it actually changes color, like actually doesn't fade immediately, but it starts to close a little bit beforehand. That's also nice. Yeah, it's like Recovery Girl, but with slightly, you know, with less smooching involved.
Sorry, that doesn't mean I don't know what I'm doing. I studied like everyone else.
Your powers are so cool!
What's your name?
Oh, did the wound like pulse for a second and like open up? Like lost concentration.
Roxanne DeRouge. And you?
Abby Lynch. Right then, you're all set, Sam.
Abby Lynch.
Roxanne? No one's ever called me that before. It's new.
Good.
Oh.
That means it's my one-of-a-kind name for you now.
One of a kind?
Until the fandom latches onto it, in which case it will no longer become that, but, you know, for now.
For me?
How for you? Only let me call you that, though, alright?
Only let me call you it would have been the emphasis there. A recovery girl who needs not to smooch. That implies the recovery girl had that discovered the smoochiness later on, somewhere down the line.
Bye, Abby.
Bye, Sam.
A nickname? Oh my. My face.
Oh, Evelyn! What are you...
Well, you're the only one who probably didn't know where the nurse's office was, so I'm here to get patched up myself.
I heard she's only a year older than us, you know.
She's only a year older than us. It was a very like, it's a very quick speech there. That's coming from me, so you know that's you know, fast talker if that's the case. It almost sounded like she was saying this is only older than us, but no, she's only a year older than us. Yeah.
Really? That's cool.
Uh-huh. She's pretty nice. Right, Zan?
Hey, don't call...
Yeah, exactly. Only she can. If you heard the conversation, you should have heard that.
Call me that.
Only a girlfriend can. Sorry.
She's not...
Yeah, this voice actor is talking a little bit too fast. I know that I talk fast in general, but when I do voice acting, I tend to try and slow down so people can actually, you know, tell what I'm saying. How old are they all? Supposedly they were picked from a bunch of applicants that were from the ages of 16 to 18. So they're 16 to 18, which I guess means that the nurse, is 17 to 19. Although, you know, or whatever. A year older than them, I suppose. These two particularly. Well, I guess are the same age.
I don't like girls!
And once again, the running away. I noticed that the sound effect of the running away didn't come in until after the character was mostly off frame. Because if it hadn't, then we would have seen like how the footsteps don't actually match along. I know that like footsteps matching up with like the legs is a difficult thing in Gacha in general anyway. I've done footsteps where like I've either synced them up or I've done an approximation. It depends. With running, if you're gonna have a character run that slowly, you need to slow down the running sound effects to match. Or if you want to emphasize it, don't show off their legs. That's another thing. One thing about the designs, actually, because I know that I don't tend to talk about character designs that near enough. If you see the rear hair of this character on screen right now, you see how it like cuts off. That's because the back hair has been moved up. It blends in at the front, but the back is suffering as a result. I'm not sure. I think the solution would have been just shorten it a little bit, shorten the back hair a little bit, so that it's at least aligned with the rest of the hair. But light feet is a thing. I run and can't hear myself running. Yeah, but we can hear Roxanne running. We can hear the footsteps. I'll go back. I'll go back a little bit.
I don't like girls.
Okay, so correction. This running, the footsteps start before she goes off, just slightly. But yeah, it's more of a case that running in slow motion is the issue, rather than if you're going to put sound effects in there implying character isn't light-footed, then make sure that they don't distract from the footing in question.
Another compet, huh?
That was a little bit better, but yeah. And of course, the walking footsteps sound better in general because, like, usually they're all roughly the same pace.
Welcome back.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before. The actual cycles and the actual posing of the animation, I really like. It's the speed at which they move that's the issue. It's the fact that the keyframes are programmed to be too close together. Start and end point are too close together. If you extend one of them and you to keep the time the same, they'll travel more distance more quickly, because speed equals distance over time. So that's the way to fix that. If it's laying out with scene timing, this is something I would not let pass in editing. Yeah. Could have made better stuff, even though I don't make animations. I mean, yeah, sometimes it is. Oh, you mean like in terms of like the actual like posing cycles and such? I mean, I mean that's great. Don't get me wrong. Also, do you have? Does that mean you have a channel? If so, maybe you can maybe your stuff can feature on Gacha Review at some point. I mean, Doe the Doe Man is a very distinct name. I'm not sure if that applies outside of Twitch.
Hello again, Caspian.
I mean, we already knew that she had been to the castle before, so the fact that she knows while the knight's there is not a big reveal, unfortunately. Nor is the removal of the hair, because we don't know how lot that signifies yet. Oh well. The channel I want to make one. Well, you've got the perfect username for one if you ever decide to do that. So be it. But yeah. Okay, so that was episode 2 of Knights of Destiny, with a logo that looks like the outro of Hot Fuzz. There you go. My animation, 10 seconds left to make. That's a lot of animation, That's nothing to scoff at. I assure you. Okay, so with this in mind, yeah, episode 2 definitely better than episode 1. We actually get to know the characters, that we're going to be following. We can identify with them, relate to them in some cases, and we root for them on their journey. That's what I wanted for episode 1. If episode 1 didn't feel much more like a trailer. This actually could have been the start point for the series for the most part, because I guess it would have needed some sort of explanation as to what's going on with the prophecy in general, because that was episode 1 territory. Unless they decided to keep that part a mystery themselves, but I probably would have said that would have been just a little too confusing or too mysterious. Maybe. I'm not entirely sure. Aside from that detail, this could have easily been called episode 1, and that one could have been called, prequel or, teaser or episode 0 or something to that effect. Yeah, and from a visual side, everything from episode 1 stayed consistent, I guess. So even the issues, or I guess more issues, became prevalent because they attempted more things. We didn't get fight choreography in the first episode, but we did here. So they're trying out, some other things and getting the story kind of like, set in stone and getting the ball rolling, to be honest, which I can really appreciate. And aside from like, just the opportunity setup of the Zemans and how that went down, the fact that the guards did something, don't get me wrong, everything that was done in this one, was done for a purpose. Like, time was given to the right elements of the story to actually work here. Much more so than the first episode. Even like the smallest details, or just like, even on a visual level, you get that kind of thing. The posing of the characters, their mannerisms, their performances is a little bit different, because I think that's another shortcoming of this episode. The fact that the voice actors weren't directed to sound more urgent when they need to be, more animated when the scene called for it, all of those things, the usual stuff. That's the issue. Guards, raise the alarm. Oh no, we're under attack. For example. By no means the only example. And it does seem like Roxanne is actually going through an understandable identity crisis in terms of, am I weak by comparison to everyone else because of what's happened? Misunderstanding the concern from drill sergeant character, that also comes from a very good place. Like it's an undervalued skill to be able to write character conflict or character misinterpretations based on like how they would perceive things, because they're so defined that you can see how they would come to odds. That's very identifiable human behavior, and is unfortunately absent in a lot of gacha projects. So yeah, how are you missing these streams? Yeah, you missed the whole stream again, and this one was actually really good. Again, it had like I said, it had some shortcomings, but for once, the story isn't one of them. Because I can even get behind the urgency of the situation, because a ticking time bomb is a very classic technique to raise the stakes. I would say it would have been better for them to choose a team long in advance of the Year of the Prophecy, so they can actually prepare for it. If anything, the training arc could have been taking place over like the course of like a year or so before preparing, because I guess they would have been, let's say that the kingdom has a minimum legal age that you can actually train youngsters or something, so they had to wait for that to happen because they couldn't like remove that law even if the queen was in power. And then they decided, okay, well, let's give ourselves as much time as possible here if they have to be 16 to 18, which I don't remember being specified in the actual prophecy, but for the sake of argument, let's just say that it was. They could cover their ground by doing that. So they're also 16 to 18, which means that some of them are in fact 18. So that means they could have had those extra 2 years of training theoretically if they chose them sooner. You could even have a situation where like you people get chosen like at 16, say, and when that falls, it's actually different. So some of them have different levels of experience, which would make Roxanne potentially much more of the what was I going to say? An even bigger outlier, because she's, I guess, not keeping up pace with the people who would be the same age, and also way behind the ones who are not, maybe. So yeah, that's probably what I would have done in that situation. So, but honestly, the setup they've got here is fantastic. So yeah, I would urge the people who are saying they want to watch the VOD or something. By all means, of course, check out the VOD, because I'm not going to say no to that. But obviously, also take a look at the original. you know, you'll have a decent time regardless of if my commentary is in the way or not. I would say. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm going to try and start earlier tomorrow for this in general, unless we stream D&D on the Butter Bunch. I don't think we are. Thursday is D&D on the Butter Bunch, so tomorrow is Gacha Review as normal on YouTube and Twitch, the same deal as usual. Ah, look at that, Love Star Studios again, right as I'm about to end. So yeah, all of you get to get the VOD experience. You get the VOD experience. You get the VOD experience. So enjoy that. So please leave a like or dislike because your opinion matters. And subscribe if you've not done so already. Or follow because someone's on Twitch. Follow if you've not done so already. And on that note, until next time, farewell. Destiny did not favor you lot today, did it?